The Great Kilt was the main item of clothing and shelter for Highlanders for nearly 300 years. Nowadays, we rely on high-tech Gore-Tex and other lightweight outdoor clothing. But does the Great Kilt belong in the past? Or can it be used in conjunction and can it complement modern equipment? Well, it's January here in the Highlands. It's -8. I've got my resilience ruck system and I'm going to go on an overnight trip. Come join me.
Hi folks, Antonius Vladislavius. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm best known for my series on 17th century Highlander survival skills, where I have an over 50 video playlist documenting my learning journey. The Great Kilt, or plaid or plaid, is of course the iconic Highland dress and has been a major focus of mine during my experiments, and I have many past videos discovering all the ways you can use it in the outdoors and also myth busting some common beliefs about it. For this overnight experiment, I wanted to bring this historical garment to the present day and see if it's still useful with modern outdoor equipment. Now, despite all the uses of the Great Kilt, the downside is it's very bulky and heavy, with a good one weighing between 2 and 3 kilograms and between 4 and 5 meters long. Therefore, to me, you have to wear the plaid on your body while traveling in order to justify carrying this extra weight. Now, of course, I didn't start my learning journey with historical kit. I started with modern gear, learned the essential survival principles and mindset, and then applied these principles to history. And with all my outdoor trips and experiments, I apply an essential learning formula so I can push my comfort zone just enough, but still stay safe. I then use this clarity I gained from the wilderness and from delving into history to apply to my everyday life and well-being back in the modern world. So if you want to know exactly how I do this, then I have created an online course called Resilient Roots, Survival Training for the Art of Living. Even if you're a complete beginner to the outdoors, there I will teach you step by step everything you need to get you started. The rucksack I'm using on this trip I call my Resilience Ruck System. And on the course, I show you exactly how to put one together and even to improvise one with items you have to hand. You can then apply this rucksack mentality to any time period of history to explore how your ancestors may have survived in the wild. It's a course on essentially everything you need to know on how to be a self-reliant forest ninja. So you can find out more via my website, tomlanghorn.com, or click the link in the description below. On the website, you'll also find a free survival checklist, as well as a free course called 4 Days to Focus, where I show you how to cut out distractions, capture ideas in a journaling system, and direct your attention to the life you want.
From 1 minute it's absolutely freezing and the sun comes out and you have to walk uphill and it becomes absolutely roasting. Constant taking on and off of layers. When I'm moving, kind of hating the plaid. As soon as I stop, I'm kind of loving the plaid. Been walking for about 4 hours. It's tougher going than I expected. It's pretty icy and quite rough ground. Aye, so far there's already some things I would do differently with the kit. It's funny, like going pure 17th century, I have a layering system, pure 21st century. I've got a system of layering, but now combining it, I've kind of confused myself and I'm getting a bit hot. So aye, it's interesting experiment already. Thankfully the sun's come out, which is taking the edge off. But I probably only got about 2-3 hours until it gets dark. So quite soon I need to try find a place to set up camp and start collecting firewood, because it is going to be a long, cold night. It's interesting seeing all these ruins. This was obviously quite a populated place not so long ago. What a view. Van Davy Bannocks are back, baby. This time with some experimental flavours. It's top one, bit of an experiment. Instead of suet, it's coconut oil, bit of brown sugar, chia seeds and raisins, and it's delicious. We can get out the prevailing wind. As soon as that sun disappears, it's gonna get chilly. Enchanted oak forest. I'll find somewhere to set up. So I seem to be having one of those days where everything just seems to go wrong. Everything's getting delayed. Won't go into it, won't complain, but essentially, yeah, I've setting up camp like nearly 2 hours later than I wanted to, but this terrain's been kind of difficult. All these old oak trees, lots of deadfall, lots of places that are dangerous to sleep. They're all quite spread apart. I want to try put up a hammock system, so it's been hard to find suitable sized trees. But aye, as soon as that sun's gone away, it suddenly got really cold. But I hope these trees are going to be suitably spaced and I can get a fire going. Right, so I just flipped my poncho back on itself just to give myself plenty of space this evening, but I'll probably get a fire going, sort of step away around here so I can sit here and enjoy that, not worry about the poncho getting burnt. And then when I want to go to sleep, I'll let the fire die down and then I'll flip the poncho back and pin it in. So let's get a fire. So one of the tools in the Resilient Rut system is this Soviet shovel. Really handy tool. I've sharpened one edge so you can use it like an axe, but it's perfect for making fire lays. Morning folks, welcome to the levitating tartan cocoon. It's not actually as cold as I expected. When I left yesterday morning it was -8, absolutely freezing, and I took all my layers with me as a last minute panic. But according to my wee thermometer I brought with me, 1 degree. So it's been hovering just above freezing all night, so wasn't so bad. my improvised under blanket using the plaid. Did the job. It's not as good as a specialist under blanket. Put my sit mat in there. But what I do love is having this extra bit of the plaid that goes up and over. You can fling this over your head. It just makes like a lovely little microclimate. Stops your nose and mouth getting cold. Alright. Surprisingly good sleep. It's hard to get up. I don't want to get up. That's the hardest bit. Getting out of your cozy wee sleep bag. Face the cold. So let me show you my setup. I've got a DD Hammocks poncho on top, and I've got a lightweight hammock that would support my weight. Then inside the hammock I had my Swagman's roll, which is rated down to 5 degrees Celsius. Inside a down sleeping bag that's rated down to 0 degrees Celsius. So that was me preparing for that -8, which was meant to happen. But yeah, so both of those combined was pretty cozy. I've shown this plaid under blanket before in a video I did years ago. Essentially it's just tied in one end, draped, tied in the other end, and then you've got this excess which you can fling over you. So in between the hammock and the under blanket I have my sleeping pad, and I also had a spare puffer that I put in just to create a bit of loft. So as I said, it's not as effective as a specialist under blanket, but then yeah, under blanket's quite bulky to carry. At least this is multifunctional, and I really like that blanket part of the plaid that will go over the face. It keeps you, it's really cozy. Right. Oh, let's get a cup of tea. Nom. Cup of tea. Today's breakfast bannock is chocolate and peanut butter. A bit drier than my other attempts, but does the job.
The sheep's in the meadow and the kye are in the corn. Those all along in thy bed, bonny at morn.
Way too many extra layers.
Kenny at night, bonny at morn. Those all along in thy bed, bonny at morn.
Alright. Take a space. Stick around me.
We're all entitled with keeping of the barn. The lad will not work and the lass will not learn. Kenny at need, bonny at morn. Those all along in thy bed, bonny at morn.
So, coming to the end of the trip. So what is the answer? Is the Great Kilt still a practical piece of outdoor clothing that can be used with 21st century outdoor equipment, or does it belong to the past? Well, first of all, some experience from this current trip. Now, the more experience you get with the outdoors, you get you figure out a system of layering and shelter that you're happy with, and the more you practice with it, the faster and more efficient and streamlined you get at it. Now, I would say with my purely 21st century kit, I have a system that's streamlined and I'm happy with, and with my 17th century kit, I have a system that I'm happy with. And for this trip, I've kind of confused myself because I've mixed these two worlds. I was also a bit thrown off by the sudden change of weather. When I left, it was -8, and I ended up chucking in extra layers just as a sort of panic, because I was worried I was going to get very cold at night, which I ended up not needing. So, first of all, some cons. Now, around your waist, you essentially have 5 meters of wool, so quite quickly you get very warm. And this is why Highlanders went bare-legged, or essentially that's my experience of it, is that going bare-legged makes a lot of sense to keep your legs from getting too hot. And in my Highlander kit, the trousers that I wear are very baggy. They're just very simple historical style trousers that I can take on and off over my shoes. Okay, so now these modern trousers, I have to take my shoes off to take my trousers off. So I can't quickly and easily change my layers. So that was a bit annoying. Another thing that was annoying is that these pockets are essentially held by friction, which is fine when you're wearing other wool jackets and things like that. The fabric, they hold better because they've got more friction. But then when you're putting these kind of tuck-in pockets next to, you know, nylon, synthetic puffers, synthetic waterproofs, it just slips. Same with the shoulder, it just keeps slipping off. So it was just awkward. It was like it wasn't really fitting properly on top of synthetic clothing. So in hindsight, I would probably wear my thinner modern walking trousers, ones that have got vents, things like that. I ended up wearing these warmer ones last minute because I thought it was going to be colder. I also added these wool hose for my 17th century kit last minute again because it was so cold, but very quickly, as soon as you start walking uphill, I got too hot and I wish I hadn't changed my mind last minute. But some pros, I did like these pockets. I can fit a whole map here, put my hats and gloves in the other one, so it was good for quickly accessing and changing layers, taking off hats and gloves and things, which you're constantly doing in this sort of weather. This back pocket, although I ended up bringing too many layers, that's why it looks kind of ridiculous because I got a big booty. But for the puffer, it was very handy. I could just stop, quickly whap out that puffer and stick it on. Didn't have to open my backpack. So I did like that. Another thing I really liked was that if you stopped and you wanted to have a wee lie down or a little tactical nap, this upper portion of the plaid you can quickly fling over you and turn into a blanket. So I did like that. So all in all, what's my answer? Is this still a practical piece of clothing for the 21st century outdoors? I would say yes and no. So if I was, say, going on an expedition where my objective is distance and walking many miles a day, and when I get to camp I essentially just set up a shelter and go to sleep, or say if I'm hiking to the top of a mountain and I want everything to be streamlined and fast and light, then I'm going to leave my plaid at home. It's a burden than anything else in those sorts of situations. If you're doing anything in the outdoors that requires you to wait around, say if you're fishing or hunting or wildlife watching or just generally chilling out, if you don't have to be moving so much, then it's great. It's great for that extra layer. It's great to use as that blanket. If you get one in a more of a camouflage color, then it is pretty camouflaged. I've shown that in past videos. It was very interesting combining it with this resilience rucksack system. I think I could make it better. Like everything, it's just because I've mixed these two systems, I've confused myself a bit, but with some practice I could probably streamline it. Although it's still a bit awkward and bulky for some activities in the outdoors, I think the plaid could still make a comeback. So thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next adventure.